guys, this is my stitched together long version of my series on Ginny from my TikTok. I hope you enjoy. Mwah.
One of my favorite facts about Ginny was that when she was 6 years old, she started sneaking into the broom closet and practicing flying. She wasn't allowed to fly with her brother. She wasn't like supposed to do this, but she did it for years and like never got caught. She finally admitted it like 8 years later, but she had been flying since she was 6 years old. We don't really see a whole lot of Ginny in the first book. It's really kind of just her being really excited to see them when they're coming on and off the platform 9 3/4. So I'm just gonna go straight to book number 2, Chamber of Secrets. Starting off, we all, in the movies, Ginny stands up to Draco for Harry Potter, but she does this in the books, but it's only because when Harry gets all of those free books from Gilderoy, he gives them to Ginny. He knows he can purchase his own books, and she has had everything in her life handed down to her, so he gives her this set of brand new books. A huge missed opportunity is how much trauma Ginny experiences in this book. She is being possessed by Voldemort himself, and like we don't get to see any of her trauma. It's just like, oh yeah, look, somebody painted on the wall. Who did it? Because in the book, Ginny's waking up like covered in rooster feathers, having like all of this missed memory, like having this like full-on existential crisis. It really starts with Ginny confiding in the diary like a friend. Like she's talking about, her brother's picking on her, being new at school, liking Harry. And the book takes a huge interest in Harry Potter, obviously, because it's Tom Riddle. So he starts pushing her to talk about Harry and talk about Harry. Ginny does try to get rid of the diary by throwing it in Moaning Myrtle's bathroom. However, she finds out that Harry has it because she's tried to send him an anonymous Valentine's Day gram, like a little singing dwarf. And it embarrassed Harry. He freaked out, his bag ripped, and the diary fell out on the ground. Ginny sees this. It's a whole like added thing that Draco points out that he thinks Ginny's the one that sent it. She's super embarrassed, but then that night she sneaks in and she takes the diary, not because she wants it back, not because like Tom Riddle possesses her to get it back. It's because she's so scared that Harry's gonna find out what she's been writing about him. She tries to confess to Ron and Harry. So she like goes up to them in the common room, tries to confess this to them. Percy overhears this and stops her, thinking that she's about to rat on him for dating Penelope Clearwater, this Ravenclaw girl. And he stops her, so she just never admits it and continues to get traumatized in this. She gets taken into the chamber. However, Ginny does end up admitting to everybody on the train ride home at the end of the book that Percy's dating Penelope Clearwater, and everybody makes fun of him for it. This is part 2 about Prisoner of Azkaban. I feel like because we didn't get a good inside look into Ginny's trauma from the second book, then we really don't like understand it in the third book. On the train ride to Hogwarts, when the Dementors, get on the train and they're searching for Sirius and Harry's the one that passes out. In the books, when this happens, Ginny's separated from her brothers, and when the train is stopped, she's afraid. So she goes to the cart where Ron, Harry, and Hermione and Lupin are to, be with people that she knows because she's afraid. However, in the book, it's actually Ginny who's affected the worst by the Dementors, like even worse than Harry is, because the trauma of Tom Riddle possessing her is so fresh. And you really don't get to see that, like, Ginny's the one that understands Harry or can understand and empathize with Harry more than, and in a way that nobody else can, because she has such a unique experience with Voldemort. And that is why the Dementors affect her so much. And they leave that out completely. Only other little tidbit that we really miss in the third book is Harry gets injured during a Quidditch game, and he's in the hospital, and Ginny comes to visit him with a get well card that sings. Hermione spends most of her summer at the Burrow with the Weasley family, and she gets really close with Ginny. They build a really beautiful friendship, and this is where Hermione's like, hey, Ginny, you need to calm down around Harry. You can't keep acting like this, and you probably should go date other people. Neville actually asked Hermione to the Yule Ball before he asked Ginny. Hermione turns him down because Victor Crumb has already asked her and she said yes. So then Neville turns around and he asks Ginny, and Ginny's like, yeah, sure, okay. So as, Ron and Harry are really struggling to find dates, Ron actually ends up suggesting, oh, why don't you just go with Ginny? And Ginny, panics and is like, I'm going with Neville. Like, no, sorry. So she really tries to put up a front and takes Hermione's advice and make herself, look like she's moved on, when really she's actually kind of deeply upset that she couldn't go to the ball with Harry. So starting off in Order of the Phoenix, Ginny is dating Michael Corner at this point. So she's taken Hermione's advice. Girlfriend's moving on. It's on the train to Hogwarts this year that Ginny is the one that introduces Harry and Neville to Luna. So she's become friends with the Ravenclaws, her boyfriend's a Ravenclaw, and Luna's in her year. At that meeting, however, when they're first figuring out what to do, Ginny shows her humor in this book, which I love, where she's mimicking Umbridge's cough and other things that she does. But we really get to see her sense of humor now. Ginny's actually the one that named the group Dumbledore's Army because, quote unquote, it was the Ministry's biggest fear and thus is the reason why Harry doesn't get in trouble when they're caught. It's during this movie that Harry gets a lifelong ban from Quidditch because Umbridge, is mad at him, whatever happened, I don't know. And this is when Ginny becomes seeker for the team. She doesn't really like playing seeker. She prefers to be a chaser. It's where she's comfortable. She likes playing goals, and she even admits that Harry's the better seeker than her, but she still leads the team to several wins and has a fantastic season overall. After Arthur Weasley's attacked, Harry convinces himself that he was possessed by Voldemort, and after he's withdrawing, Ginny notices and reaches out, and then she just reams on him because she's like, why would you not come to me? I was actually possessed by Voldemort. So this is when the two of them actually have a real friendship. They actually start interacting as friends and talking about their shared experiences. A little drama fun facts in their dating lives. So Ginny is dating Michael, who is in Ravenclaw. Cho is actually the seeker for Ravenclaw. So in this game where Gryffindor beats Ravenclaw, Cho's super pissed and she's, stomping off or wherever. And then Ginny's boyfriend Michael goes sulking because of the loss. So she breaks up with him because he's being a little weenie. And then turns out Michael then turns around and starts dating Cho. And I know that it's very obvious that Harry likes Cho during these movies, but they actually dated during the Order of the Phoenix. And he breaks up with her after he thinks she's the one that, rats them out and all. More than anything, I wish we could have seen Ginny land a bat bogey hex on Draco. This is what kind of frees them from Umbridge's little group of kids. And it wasn't Ron, it was their skills that, they learned in Dumbledore's Army, and that helped them escape. At this point, Bill Weasley is engaged to Fleur. She's staying at the Burrow. Ginny doesn't like her, and she nicknames her Phlegm, and is just making fun of her all the time. At this point, Ginny is also now dating Dean Thomas. We see that Ginny's in the slug club, but we never actually see why she's invited. So after getting off the train, they're making their way into the school. This kid named Zacharias is, pestering Ginny to try and get details out of her about what happened in the Ministry from the previous book. Ginny gets super annoyed and she casts a bat bogey hex on him, to which Professor Slughorn sees. Ginny thinks she's gonna get in trouble, but in grand Hogwarts fashion, she is rewarded, and Slughorn is super impressed by her. The same kid, Zachariah, was the commentator during a Quidditch match, and he was making some rude comments about Gryffindor, and Ginny crashed her broom into the commentator box on purpose to try and teach him a lesson. Ron and Ginny have beef during this book, and it's because Ron sees Ginny kissing Dean Thomas, Ron gets mad, and Ginny makes the remark that he's only mad because he's never kissed anybody. Got him. But this prompts Ron into dating Lavender. After Harry attacks Draco in the bathroom, he gets detention, so once again, he's out of a game, and Ginny is playing Seeker. She wins the game against Ravenclaw. It's the last game of the year, and in spontaneous celebration, Harry and Ginny kiss here. They are like, oh, okay, guess we have feelings. And at this point, they start dating-ish, but this is actually when they kiss for the first time. The whole order plays a lot bigger role in the Battle of the Astronomy Tower than we see. We really just see, the Death Eaters and Harry and Snape up there, and that's it. But actually, Harry has Ginny staking out the room of requirement. And when Draco sees that, they're being watched, he, does one of those little black fog poof things and runs off and hides. But Ginny has actually taken part of the Felix Felicis potion, and because Harry didn't take the whole thing, he saved it and dosed the rest out to Ginny, Harry, and Ron so they could, be safe as they, went out into battle or whatever. And Ginny wins a duel against a Death Eater at this point. Ginny also plays a really big role in comforting Harry after Dumbledore's death at the end of this one. Personally, I love the scene where Ginny and Harry kiss and George walks in and sticks that toothbrush in his ear. Just cinematic masterpiece. However, in the books, Ginny kisses Harry as a birthday gift because she doesn't know what else to get him. She knows his plans to travel, and she knows it needs to be small, so she quote unquote gives him a kiss that he'll never forget. Harry also very, very quickly breaks up with Ginny after kind of doing the math and realizing that if any Death Eater or Voldemort realizes that he cares about somebody, then they're So he ends it to protect Ginny. However, they both still have feelings for each other, and actually Victor Crumb was at Bill and Fleur's wedding, and he even at one point during the wedding made a comment about how pretty Ginny looked, and Harry goes up to him and goes, "Yeah, I heard she has a really big and jealous boyfriend, so I'd back off." So Ginny and Neville and Luna go back to Hogwarts. Luna is abducted over Christmas break, but Ginny and Neville, head Dumbledore's army. They restart it to fight Snape's regime, and they're, graffitiing the walls at night. They're still practicing. They're doing all of the things that they've always done, and they are just really holding strong and fighting the power over at Hogwarts.
Thanks for watching. Mwah!